Okay, I guess we're ready to go. Let me just shift over our screen, and here we are. Okay, well, first of all, folks, thank you for joining us this evening. I know it's the summer. August, it's always one of the slowest month of the year in our industry. And in fact, it's the exact reason why we want to talk about momentum strategies to for slow months. And again, a lot of things Tammy and I are going to cover. It's not stuff that you guys are not familiar with, but I think they're good memory joggers. But also, it gives you a sense of orientation on what is it, what are the things that you can do if you choose to do those things, if you want to get in momentum. Whatever enterprise you choose to build with, there are certain principles that are constants. They don't change regardless of what you do. So what we want to do is, I just want to share with you a PowerPoint we put together that's going to give you some strategies in line. In fact, in light of that, let me just kind of start with the first slide to talk about some of the things that we'll cover here tonight. It's not going to be a long call, but I think there are important points. One is to stay connected to your why, and we'll cover the importance of that. That's really, really important. That's your roots. And then we know, I mean, prospecting and follow up. Well, I mean, if there's one thing that is consistent and congruent in our business, is exactly that. Is consistent and to be consistent in the prospecting activities and the follow-up activities. And throughout the session, we're going to share with you some of the things that Eric is putting together and others and so forth for you to plug into if you're interested to get into momentum or maintain certain level of momentum even in slow months. Because when the months are thriving, like when it gets into September, October, November, then December again it goes down, and it's starts January, February. By following these principles, you can really take advantage of slow months. So we're going to talk about content creation and branding. I know that Erica will talk about that. She's really branding herself out there. It's looking wonderful. Training and personal development, which again, in slow months, this is a really good time. Just earlier, I was just talking to Sylvia about Fraser Brooks, about some of the things that he does. I really like the stuff he put together because it's very inexpensive and extremely on point. Let's see here. We're going to cover some of the building activities, 2030 and all of these things, customer engagements, especially with the Thursday presentation that we're doing, which is a 15-minute presentation. We have a great time on that. It's a really good place to get customers to engage. And tools and resources, we'll touch on that, which we kind of briefly talked about it. I'll share with you a little bit of what I do and so forth, and what Tammy and I do, and of course the commitment and action as we follow through here. So back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and it's always about staying
Tammy,
connected.
there's no song. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always about staying connected to your why, because that's really what drives home to get you out of bed, to get you passionate about what you're doing, right? I love this picture. How bad do you want it? Isn't that the truth? And that's why your why is so important. Because if you don't want it bad enough, if it doesn't reach your core, and it doesn't create an emotional connection, then you're probably doing it for the wrong reason. And sometimes it takes a while to figure out really the core why of why you're doing it. But if you're not getting results in your business, I highly recommend to go back and into this section of why are you doing this? Why are you here? Why do you show up when most people are not going to show up? Why are you doing the extra things when others are enjoying their vacation, right? Just taking the summer off. Why are you doing all of these things? Well, I can tell you, I know why we're doing all of our things. And we just nonstop keep going because we know what our life is going to be like in 4 years from now. And because we've created it, right? That's the bottom line is you create the dream life. It's whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever it is that you want to be, do, and have in your life. You got to put efforts towards it, but you got to know why you're doing it first. And then you got to find techniques on self-motivation, because let's face it, every single day there's so much stuff out there. I had some bad news today about a friend, and I have to get motivated to continue focusing on what I need to do, because there's lots of things going on in the world today, and it's draining if you get yourself caught up in stuff like that. And so you got to find ways to stay motivated. You got to set goals. I mean, if you don't have a target and tasks every single day, Like I got my little hand notes here every day on what I need to accomplish every day. And I'm checking off what I need to check off. And if I don't get through everything, I don't beat myself up in the process, that's going to be at the top of my list tomorrow if it's the most important thing that needs to be done, right? So these are all the things that are absolutely critical to build your foundation. And if you haven't built a foundation, go back to this. This is so key because this is what's going to drive you to do the things that you don't want to do, especially at the beginning. Nobody wants to learn more stuff. There's so much stuff out there, right? Is having to learn more stuff. Nobody wants to do that, but they don't mind doing it if there's a reason to do it. Okay, so
You know,
go back
Tammy,
to the why.
one thing I want to add to your comment in reference to your why. See, you guys know Tammy and I are full time in network marketing. We don't have a pension. I mean, we have our investments and everything, but we're not ready to cash in on those investments yet. We're not in that stage yet. So we have to keep moving. And that's the thing is we can't afford sitting back and say, well, it's not really working for me. It's not, we don't have a cushion of a pension. It is non-existent for us. So we have a major fire upper behind. We don't have a choice. I mean, it's that or selling our assets. That is not happening. So you see what I'm saying? So because of that, we have this burning fire underneath us that, we're not going to stop. And because of that, folks, it's crazy how it's amazing the success we're seeing again. But again, the fact here is we have a strong why. Tammy and I don't know how many times, Tammy, have we said we go to bed, God, I love our life. Don't we? We love our life. We look at you, oh, we love our life.
So
And
true.
that's the reality. We love our life. We don't want to part with it. Right. And we're certainly getting ready to eventually retire, but we still probably need another, to be honest, a good 5 years of solid income to be able to get to the point where we can start cashing in from the fruit of our labor. So again, this is what we're talking about. You need something that's going to keep you accountable. And by the way, Scott, we haven't spoken forever, and I'm so glad to see you here. I want to make sure that we connect maybe tomorrow or next week or something. Whenever you are, I'd love to reconnect. Okay, so the next thing here, guys, is we want to talk about here is following up, prospecting, following up, and this is so important. Again, I'm just going to put the board here, guys, just as a quick reminder. I'll put it in the group here. Oh, is it giving me ticket? Yeah, I think it should be fine. Is it taking a picture or is it? It's working. I think you can see the link. Okay. And if you happen to be on Facebook Live, I know maybe some of you are there. I will post it in the chat so you guys can see it later on. But if you want to join us live on YouTube, excuse me, on Zoom, you're certainly welcome to. You can go to activeteamwebinar.com and then you'll be able to see the chat comments in real time. And thank you for joining us. So my point in saying here is that these are, it could be just kind of to revisit some of the strategies that are constants. There's not that really different strategies in prospecting. I mean, I've been listening to Eric Worre talk, and between you and I mean, when Eric says, we've been doing this for like a long time. But the fact is, it's good to hear someone else repeating the same thing. It kind of reinforces that, well, we're obviously doing it right. Right. So that's so this is in that reference, I'm telling you, obviously you've listened to these calls before, you've seen them before, but it might just give you the right injection to give you the not the interest, but the go ahead to go out there and start prospecting again. And follow-up strategies are very important. And that's what it is. That's what these trainings contains is what do we say and what are strategies you can use? What are the tools you have? We'll talk about some of the tools that we use. And folks, I mean, I love ChatGPT, the free version or the 4.0, whatever you want. It is really, really worth it. And again, I do recommend and invite you to Jasmine, I'm not sure what it is you're telling me here. But anyway, so the fact here is what's important is for you to stay plugged into the activities. Very, very, very important. Absolutely critical. And so again, I invite you to go ahead and listen to some of the records that we've done, and the board will point you exactly to these modules. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah. Before Chris, before we were even doing any of this training stuff, we were the students in the industry and we were the ones that were going to the courses, It's so easy today. Everything is literally handed to people today. And because of that convenience, it's easy not to do, honestly. Because back in the day, Chris, anybody who's been in the industry for a long time, you know this. I mean, this it's big investments. And so you show up and it's not this Zoom session or anything like that. You got to pay and go places, stay in hotels, and it's big money. So because of that, I think people took it a lot more serious on learning skills. And today it's just so much easier. And you got, sometimes you got this lifetime access and you just purchase a course because it's lifetime access and you haven't even looked at it yet. And I know I'm guilty too, because we've got a lot of stuff that we're working on. And I've invested in courses to improve, to go further in, email marketing stuff and just online marketing stuff, period. It's there to learn, which is great, but it's to take the time to do it, right? So, and that's all part of the content creating, the branding, learning new things, the importance of the personal branding, creating a strong presence online is really, really important because it's like meeting a stranger. They're not going to look at you, right? The first time, unless you put something really, really capturing. I do stupid things sometimes, and Chris looks at me, but you know what? I get attention,
Okay.
right? I get attention doing it, and then it's up to me to keep the brand going, right? To keep it going. And
And
people
my
get
love,
to know me.
it's
They
not
know I like
stupid.
comedy.
It's not
Yeah.
stupid. I just want to protect. It's not stupid. It's just creative. You're trying
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
So
it's true. It's true. I'm trying things to create some fun. People need to know that you're in a community that has everything. They have fun. It's not always serious, and just engagement and bringing value and content and help people learn skills and just by providing stuff and find out uh, what I do in my creation is I always check my engagement. If you're not checking your engagement and you're not responding to the people in the comments, you're not in business. Like you can put all the stuff out you want, but you're not in business unless you can literally take them off the platform, leave them, move them over to a messenger, or if you're on Facebook, move them over to Messenger, leave voice messages back and forth rather than text. I'm telling you, it goes a lot further. Everybody wants to hide behind the screen and send emails and stuff like that, but you need to do more than that. You need to create some videos. You need to get more into that connective part where they are going to want to engage more because they like you. They like the things that you're doing. They can relate to you. This is all part of it. And creating engaging content ideas, constantly work on stuff, create polls, ask questions, tell people to do something, put a yes in the comment if you agree, or anything that's going to get them to move, that you can have a conversation with them after so you can pull them off the platform. So that's what I'm no expert in all of this, but I do get on social media and I do create engagement because I like taking people off the platform. I'll do something, I'll get lots of people looking at it. If anybody looked at our story, what was it? What did I do that yesterday, Chris? It was so funny.
mhm.
I think it was up to about 100 and it's probably up to about 160, but it was in my story. But I think I'll throw that in one of my posts, but and reels, you got to try things, but you get the numbers, you get people liking the stuff, and okay, well, this is what they really like. Well, what else can I do that can get them to engage more? And people like fun, I'm telling you. They just love fun. They love comedy. They love kids. They love animals. There's so many things that you
Cats,
can do. Oh,
cats
there's
and
so many
babies.
things. Funny stuff. People like funny too. Yeah.
Yeah. And folks, one thing that I did recently is I created a new TikTok and Instagram profile. Very simple. And what I found really interesting is the difference between what I've done before and what I did now is the new profile that I created is very specific, targeted to an audience. And all the posts are all relevant to that particular idea that I want people to know about. And what I like with Instagram is you can create little categories, right? And once you're and but I waited to have enough. In fact, it's really interesting. I only have like 13 people that decide to follow me. These are complete strangers. And out of that, two leads popped in. Is not interesting. And the other ones, I got thousands. And if I can get a lead, I mean, I'm lucky. So it's really interesting. You don't need a lot of people. You just need content that is relevant. And the more specific and more relevant you are in your branding, the more people are clear on what it is you offer. And I did the same thing with TikTok. It's crazy in TikTok where I got a lot of views, but not a lot of people that are following, but now it's starting to grow. But it's very specific, targeted. Okay. So that's what I mean. It's in slow months. Take the time to brand yourself, rebrand yourself, and try some things. Which goes down to the next point of training and personal development, folks. This you can never get enough of that. You need to identify your mental barriers. This is critical. And again, folks, I know that some of you are very content with the life you have. You've done well for yourselves. I'm talking to those of you that would like to go further, right? Find where those mental barriers are, recognize them. And once you recognize them, then find the right environment to help you overcome those barriers. I know that I mean, nobody likes to be rejected. But as you grow and evolve, you realize the rejection, it's not personal. It's not towards you at all. It's them. It's all about them. And if you take it personally because you feel kind of responsible for the response, it's not always the case. It's possible that you can improve upon how you go about sharing, but it's really understanding where they are. And from there, don't be afraid to talk to others because rejection is part of the game. And in our business too, I mean, I go to my Facebook Messenger and I got probably about 100 requests. There's a section on Facebook Messenger where you can see, I forgot what it's called now, but message people are trying to message you. I forgot the exact title it is, but if you go to Messenger, you'll notice that, and there's like hundreds of them. Here's what I'm doing. There's our prospects. I'm connecting and I'm saying hi. How are you? And from there, I don't say anything. I don't say what I'm doing. They're trying to connect with me. I'm connecting them back, and I say nothing. And then they come back to me and it says, "Oh, what do you do?" He looks at you online. What are you doing online? And then it says, "Oh, I happen to be doing this and doing that. I provide this, I provide that." And oh, that's wonderful. And at this point, boom, now they tell me, would you be interested for us to increase your audience? Blah, blah, blah. I would say like 95% of them, that's what they're offering. But for me, it's an opportunity to share what I do. And I post my information and everything else. And some of them were collaborating, and some of them it just ends up nowhere. So again, it's this personal growth in understanding that not get over the fear of rejection. Really important. What are the common challenges that you come across? From the beginning, take note of these things and then find an area. And we'll talk about the next slide here on some of the things that are offered that are free. I know there's always upsells. It's just part of life here, folks. But take advantage of what's free because the content is really going to be good on what we're going to share with you. And some of you, I think, I've already registered. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute. So, personal development strategies. It's important to look into things that will get you to see the bigger picture, to get you to see who you are, who you can be, the voice that you have that's never been heard out loud. And this in slow months, it's a great time to spend a bit of time around that. And I know I love Fraser Brooks. I respect Eric Worre. I know he sells a lot. I know some of these things are expensive, but there's great value to what he has to offer. And many of the things are free that you can also take advantage of. And I know that program that he's going to be talking about, I'll bring this over to him. He can talk about this, but he's going to be giving some scripts and some all sort of things that you can take advantage of. I'm not much of a script person, but I do like to have a script just to trigger some ideas. And from there, I will take over. And with ChatGPT, folks, I will take anything and I will ask, my assistant, ChatGPT, to say, can you do this, you do that? Can you compress this? Can you convert this to this side? Can you make this more inspiring? Or me, can you put that from 3 paragraphs to like 3 lines? And it's just crazy the tools that are available there. But I'll turn this over to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and it's all about team building strategies, right? It's keeping people engaged. This is a time of year, like I said, most people they just downtime, right? They just do other things. But honestly, this is the best time to connect with people because you're talking to people anyways. There's barbecues, there's full of festivals out there, there's full of things that you can create some engagement, make those connections so you can reconnect with these people. And so leverage this as much as you can, because once it starts getting cold, people don't want to go out. And so now you're behind a screen trying to connect with people. And it's not easier, you guys. It's not easier. Okay. So people love people. So whatever opportunity you have to get out there and meet people, make those connections. I'm telling you, creating those engaging team activities, incorporate interactive activities into the picture. I mean, we've done many things over the years. We've done the 100 conversation challenge, spend an hour and, message as many people as you can, see who's going to connect back to you, like all kinds of stuff that we've done over the years. And guess what? It created connections, it created conversations that led into another interest, right? Into what you're doing. And so these are the things that you want to be constantly doing with your team. Don't always wait for your leader to initiate everything. Okay, you got to lead your team members. If you don't have a team, you need to go back to the basics of the building your list, contacting people in the prospecting process, invite them to have a look at something, follow up with them, engage them into a decision, right? That's the basics. So if you have a team below you that you've brought into the business, this is when you want to be grooming. Okay. So that's what you want to be focused on, and creating some momentum and engagement. Impact of challenges, all kinds of activities. Chris and I'm always the one that initiates, right, Chris? And it's always the activity. I like the fun. Anybody who knows me, I like to have fun. I like to have interactive engagement. I like to not always make everything about business, and just getting to know each other, getting to know what we like, our families, like things that you wouldn't know if you're always about business, 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 right? And people want to have fun in life too. And so we had something festival on the waterfront, which we have every year, and we do our best to get booths. But this year it was already taken, and so we had some bands. So I personally invited some new friends over, so I could interact my new friends with my network of some people that came over. And so we had a blast. We had an absolute blast. And these are the things that you want to be doing throughout the summer months, any time of year, honestly. We actually created a fun group too. It has nothing to do with business, but we always know business conversations come up because we're all entrepreneurs. So we created a fun group on WhatsApp, and we're getting more and more engagement of people that are being part of it. And we just pick something that we want to do, and whoever can make it out, great, or that like to go dancing, or that like to go see a band, that like to go see a comedy show, and we're building culture around some of that fun stuff. So that's really important to do, especially on the slow period times, because when you go into momentum and you have those high period times of work, 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 you want to be doing that, right? So there's certain times that you that you want to be doing, not fun all the time, if you know what I mean. So and talking about resources, Chris, you can share this because you were on the
Yeah,
session listening to
yeah,
that.
absolutely. One of the things that I really recommend here, folks, don't be intimidated by the upsells. You don't have to take those. What I would like for you to be at least plugged into is the content is that he's going to be sharing with you. And one thing that I do, folks, I don't know if you're like me. Some of you have one screen, that's fine. Some of you have multiple screens. What I do is I have one screen, I have my notes. One screen, I have the presenter. And one screen, I have basically the snapshots. Now, you don't need to get three screen. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. And what I do is when I see something I like, I take a screenshot. Okay. And I just give you an example how fast it is, right? I'm taking a screenshot right now. I'm taking this right now. You can see here it's appearing, right? And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to copy this right now. And I'm going to go ahead and paste it right here. Okay, so everybody just see it. It's not within seconds. So one thing that I do is I just take screenshots, and from there I just kind of keep that into my notes with the verbal with the written notes that I have, and it's crazy how accurate my notes are. Some of you might have seen my Evernote link that I share when I make the link public. Often you're going to see the slide. So you don't have to type fast or anything like this. There's all sort of techniques. I know on the Mac, it's Control Command 4, and the little cursor appears like an X, like a plus sign. You just drag around the area and you take a snapshot. And I'm telling you this because I'm not a great note taker, but because I'm used techniques like this, I'm a master note taker. I don't miss a beat. You can even take text, and I know the PC can do the same thing. You can take a picture of text, and once you have the text, give you an example. You see here what's going on here? Well, if that was an image, I could just go ahead and select all of this. Right now, that's a PowerPoint, so unfortunately, it's not going to work. But if that was an image, here to give me an example, that's an image right here. You see what I'm doing? I can actually copy this as if it was in a document, right? I can copy it right now, and I can go ahead, and there you go, right? You guys are seeing it immediately. So that's actually literally, so I do a lot of these kind of things, and I suggest you try that. Now, all this to say is because obviously when Eric is going to be doing his sessions, it's going to go fast often. And people may speak fast. I'm not sure who he's going to invite, but it's 3 days of these things with a lot of great content on having 100 conversation. And I know that he's going to be doing some things in real time with you. So I recommend for you to participate on that. When you click on the link that I provided on the chat there, it'll show, it'll tell you the date, time, and everything else. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you register for that. These are team building activities. And if your team gets involved in these kind of activities, they may end up doing nothing, but they may end up doing something, or they may end up doing great things. But if you don't show up, you don't talk about it, then of course nothing will ever change. So this is all about building team and building team activities and so forth. And the other thing that's really important is customer engagement. One thing, if we focus on Max for a minute, we know there's been a shortage of supply for a period of time. And again, I've spoken to Jonathan, and in fact, there's some great news that are coming out. On the front end, it may not look like a lot's happening, but on the back end, with what they're doing with the infrastructure, there's a lot of wonderful things that are happening. And there's going to be some announcements that are going to be coming out. I've made a promise not to say a word. I can't say anything. The bottom line is there's some good stuff coming out, and it's not perfect. I know they have the affiliate side going on, but I'm a network marketer. This is what I do. This is how I make my living. But for someone who just wants to sell products, sure, I'll send them that way and everything else. But the fact here is things are improving. That's the reason why on every second Thursday, this coming Thursday, I believe it is Linda and Bill, right, that are presenting this coming Thursday. And I think the testimonials is Erica and PJ, I believe. And sometime this may change. The point is that I suggest you show up. They're fun presentations. They are 15 minutes, and most of the time I'll be on the background because I know that sometimes the technical stuff is a bit of a challenge. I'll take care of the technical stuff if you have some challenge. I just want you to go out there and present and share your voice. And I suggest that you engage customers to to take part of the information. All we talk about here is not the business, just the Solgivity and the Max One, right? Talk about the ribosine, the science, and everything else, and it's a lot of fun. right? One thing that you can do is you can also do some promotions. As we know, Max right now has a promotion, right? There's a Max One where you buy three for, I think, 145, I think, something like that. Three Max One, which is a great deal. I know Tammy bought a package. I bought a package plus the package that came from Florida. When we weren't receiving our products in January, February, and March. So we have about 12 bottles coming. We love this stuff. So we're accumulating our products, right? So this is a great promotion. And also, when we had this Salgivity promotion, folks, it's really interesting, but our income increased because of this promotion. I didn't expect this to increase, but it did. So again, Max is constantly doing these kind of things, and regardless, whatever venture you are doing, what's important is take advantage of the contests, the cash contests, the promotions that are out there, and just tell people about it. Make it part of your presentation. Talk about the loyalty program. If you consume for 3 months, the product becomes from this price to that price, and you can do an interactive Q&A session. Maybe you can invite Tammy or I or any one of us that are comfortable presenting. Jasmine is amazing with the science. Every one of you actually are wonderful with the science, and we can do a session like that. So just kind of brainstorm on customer engagements, because listen, we get paid well even just with customers, and you can also do the affiliate if you think that that's something that works for you. I noticed, I think they're in the UK, they're in the US. I don't know if they're in Canada, but anyway, the point is, for me, I always convert them as a Max customer, but you can choose to use the direction you want. And it's something that's part of life today. So take advantage of that, folks, and just kind of be creative, because people are needing these supplements. People are needing to make money today. There's no question. The inflation, the economy, everything is changing. So if there's ways we can earn income with something that's been around for a long time that we can trust, well, it's a no-brainer. That's my point of view, of course. But again, that's the whole point of discussion here, is kind of find some ways to engage your customers, maybe to come back, to try it again. The products are available now. Just a phone call might be just enough. Says, I really miss these products and so forth. It's amazing how the conversation you can get into. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, so tools and resources, to have some planning tools, digital calendars. Chris and I have spent a lot of time automating ourselves as much as we can for the tools and resources, obviously, and spending more quality time in building business efforts and with our teams. So these are great things that you can do, like for calendars. It's fantastic, and you look more professional, right? And then going back and forth in a message that I used to do, hey, what days do you have open next week? Give me 2 or 3 different slots. You don't have to do that anymore when you have a digital calendar. Like I use Calendly, and it's free. And I got that set up, and I put in my working schedule in there. So when I connect with people, I said, let's have a Zoom session together. Here's my calendar. I control the conversation. Here's my calendar. And then next thing you know, I'm getting a message saying that somebody booked a session in my calendar. So do as much as you can in the automation process. Not everything, there's a fee to it. Some things, small things are free. And then of course there's upsells to everything. And if you like it and you want to get the pros of whatever, you can do that as well. And of course your marketing efforts, with the Now site and everything else that's available for you for tools to leverage to make things easier to create posts. And it's great. You just move a picture over and it just spurts out whatever, right? And videos too. You can do this with your videos, reels. But check out the Now site if you haven't done that already. This is something that you want to do. I know, Chris, you always talking about that, the Now site. And then of course, activity schedules. You want to make sure that you have a routine. You can automate routines as well, you guys. It's so important. If you're a paper person, just set it out and make it happen. What matters is you're engaged and you're moving forward. That's the most important thing. I like everything automated now on calendars and stuff like that. So if something comes up for somebody, I don't have to rewrite anything into a book. I just change the date. Simple. So simple. Everything's so simple now. You got to create simplicity in your life. and collaborating platforms, utilizing collaborative tools, facilitates team communication and resource sharing. So there's lots of
Well, here's an
platforms.
example, Tammy, right? And Beth, you did an excellent job in kind of putting and really kind of encouraging everybody to kind of fill in the gaps for the presentation till the end of the year that
Yeah,
we do every second Thursdays. That's an example of collaboration,
yeah,
right? The team is participating to put their. This is exactly what we're talking about. That's a prime example. That's the kind of collaboration that gets the team to commit, to participate, and be part of the action that is in place. So
yes.
that is a prime example. So I know if you want to add anything to this,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
just wanted to share that.
people support what they create, right? So
Mhm.
if, yeah, the more you have people engaging in the process, this is also part of the team building, and people develop new skills. But if you don't have your team members engaged in doing activities with organization and stuff like that, then you're going to be doing this constantly. And they'll never learn how to do this if you take over. You got to allow people to spread their wings and learn some management skills, learn all kinds of skills that's going to help them evolve in their businesses
So
as they
here's
start
an
developing
example
their teams. Yeah.
of the tool, right? On the now side. I use that all the time, all
Mhm.
the time. And the fact that I use a lot my oops, sorry, I can't show emails. Come on, go. Okay. Um, so what happens is I have my websites, I have my email marketing with everything that I do, all the programs that I'm part of. And I know that they have video AI, but there's just a lot. For me, it's a one-stop shop. I'm really good, and it reminds me all the time of people I need to follow up with. And this is what I really like about this. Again, I know that some of you are using it, and I'm assuming that some of you might be using it, or you bought into it, but you're not using it. It's so powerful. Very often, I just don't know what to post. I just go in here. I'm just going to quickly. I go here. I say, oh, I want to post. I have no idea what. And I know you know this, but sometimes you'll come up with some really cool stuff. Here's an example, right? One valuable lesson I've learned from my work is the importance of perseverance in network marketing. Perseverance is persistent. Persistence is key. You know what I'm saying? And I would probably change the picture to something that's more relevant about me, right? I can change all sort of things. I can say, well, I want this to be inspiring, entertaining, or whatever. Whatever what business I want to cover here, and what else do I want to add. So the point is, use tools to complement your strength and weaknesses. For me, my weakness is written English. I can write to be understood, but often I do typos. I type too fast. I don't reread myself. It's frustrating as heck. But then I go to ChatGPT and say, hey, fix my syntax. It's like a masterpiece. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I take that and I post it, and I sound like an ultimate major, English major. So, again, it's just things that I find that I use tools to complement my weaknesses. This is something that I do a lot. And again, you don't need to spend money on things that you don't want to spend money on. ChatGPT is the free version. In fact, I've used the free version for I think 2 or 3 years before. I just upgraded while we were, I think the last month before we left Florida. I've upgraded to no, in fact, it's I think while I was here in Toronto, and I've upgraded and I got a package where Tammy and I can use it for, and
Mhm.
now I can do all sort of wonderful things. I put my highlight of what I want to talk about, and I get ChatGPT to do all the heavy lifting. I wanted to create a PowerPoint for me, bada boom, bada bing. Of course, it's not going to be perfect because I don't want robot stuff. I want to have it has to have a human component to it, but I can even add this human component to it if I'm more specific on what I want. So I'm getting really good in utilizing these tools. And it's not about being a techie, guys. It's about how to use my cell phone, no matter speaking. What are the options that are available with my cell phone that I can take advantage of that can make my life easier? So at the end of the day here, folks, it's all about commitment and action, right? So commitment is just commit that you say, okay, I'm going to be part of this 3 days that Eric's doing, or maybe Fraser Brook, whatever he's putting together. I know he has some program with the AI. I know he's big with the chat, many chat. I know I have this thing. I used to pay $10 a month for years, and I've used it for a while. I kind of stopped, but then I'd like to go back to it because it's so brilliant. You can create your own AI with this thing because every time you say keywords, it's going to look in those keywords and find a response based on the closest. Anyway, without getting into the many details, you can make your robot super intelligent based on questions that are common, and you can have multiple answers based on answers and keywords that it finds. It's so brilliant, right? So again, commit that you're going to learn something and that you're going to be part of a program, and you're going to go through it and not just kind of stop halfway through, right? And you want to also progress, keep track of your progress. This is very important. Often some of you are doing great or doing wonderful, and sometimes, don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to your own kind of history of activities, and keep track of what you've done. And when you're aware of some of the changes and some of the growth, it's motivating to go even further. Accountability partner. Tammy, I'll let you finish on this note here. It's maybe you may want to find someone that can help you be accountable. And again, there's just so many ways to go about this. It could just be just a quick text. Hey, are you following through? Right? Someone that just reminds you once a week, once a day, once every 3 days, whatever that is, just to give you that little fire, that keeps you kind of on your toes to be able to get to what you want, opposed to have to settle to what you have. So, Tammy, I'm gonna let you. This is the last slide here. To any last thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we covered a lot of content here, and it's just a matter of doing the actions honestly, and to commit to some consistency. If you want to grow your business, absolutely, you need to have some system of consistency and organization, setting goals. These are really, really important things. And you don't have to set a lot of things. I think people try in today's world, people are just so overwhelmed. I don't know if you notice that when you talk to people, and it's exhausting. It really is. Do something. Pick one thing. What's Ed Milet? Is it Ed Milet that says that? Oh no, he talks about one more. I like that
Yeah,
too. I'm very driven to do one more, and to get the results. But just there's a book out there about one thing or something. I forget what it is. But anyways, do something. That's the bottom line. Write it down and put time into it. Learn some skills. And our business is network marketing. What do? We network among people and we market. It's that simple. It's not complicated. Everybody's out there buying and selling. Everybody is buying and selling. So everybody has value to what they're bringing to the table. What you don't want to be caught up with is always being the one buying. Okay, this is really important, because that you lose your posture, you lose your way, and you're broke, right? So you end up broke. Develop postures where you can engage people to have them look at what you do, and that is asking questions, getting to know people, find out what they're looking for, show them the solution. Simple. You do this in conversation, whether it's social media or belly to belly. Okay. And you practice and practice and practice. And that's when you develop your posture. Absolutely. When you practice.
I agree, Tammy. So in closing here, folks, like in my case, I just like to surround myself with tools, an environment where I could be at my best. This is what works for me. And you guys see Tommy and I know some of you are probably saying, God, these guys never stops. Well, our life have been transformed a little bit because of the recent changes. And like I stated at the beginning of the call, we have a very strong why. And I'm telling you folks, in about probably another 2 or 3 months, we're going to be on top of your game, again. But of course, it doesn't come in just by wishing it or praying for it. We have all the tools. We just need to build it. We just need to drive it. I just love the story about this gardener that has this beautiful, beautiful garden, and people were walking by and they kept commenting to the man. Could have been a woman that, the Bible tends to always, the old days. But the point here, an individual that has a beautiful garden, and the people kept walking and just commenting on how beautiful the garden is. And the person says, God, just blessed you with such a beautiful garden. The guy smiled. The guy smiled. At one point, he said, well, he says, you should have seen that garden when God had it all by himself or to himself. Think of think of a garden that's been maintained by a human being and the way our garden looks naturally, right? There's weeds everywhere. There's no structure. But if a human being takes the time to create all sort of different things in different colors, and that's the work that you put into that makes the garden so beautiful. So you understand my message here. We got all the tools. Everything is at your disposal. The question is, are you willing to put some work into it to make it look the way you want it to look and not the way it was kind of by design, if you understand what I mean. So it looks exactly the way you want to look. And that's how Tammy and I are shaping our lives. And we're hard workers, but we also play hard. Not a few people, very few people in the world can say that they go in Florida or they go in a foreign country for 5 months out of the year. It sounds like a fairy tale, but it's very possible. But it's by design.
Mhm.
It can be done. Every single one of you can have that. And I'm not saying that's something you want. I'm just saying that's what we want. That's what we work towards. And that's why we have our fire behind our because things have changed and we don't want to lose that. And folks, things are moving very, very quickly. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending. Really appreciate you. I hope you got some good stuff out of that. And stay tuned for the podcast that Tammy and I are sharing. Marcel does an excellent job in extracting the juice, the golden nuggets from these calls, these sessions that are 6-7 minutes. And I send them every Saturdays at 10 a.m. Tammy and I sent it through the active team database. And if you don't mind, or it's up to you, just check it out because you may find that it might take all the valuable juice out of it or the tasty nuggets that, matter speaking, that can give you the right information to you can take advantage of. So thank you so much, everybody. Again, have yourself a great evening. And Scott, let's connect maybe tomorrow or sometime this week. Love to reconnect, buddy. Okay, everybody, have a great evening. Bye for now. Take care. Bye bye.